Lake Mead, the Colorado River Reservoir, has dropped to its lowest level since it was filled in the 1930s. The reservoir is currently sitting at only 27% capacity. Meanwhile, California has blocked an underdeveloped large-scale seawater desalination for years, and the state, which borders an ocean, takes a large share of Colorado River water, and Wyoming Congressman Harriet Hageman has had enough. I asked her all about what needs to be done when we sat down earlier. Here's a look at our conversation. You, of course, represent Wyoming. Water out west is like liquid gold. You say California has neglected its water infrastructure responsibilities. Of course, California takes a ton of water out of the Colorado River. It blows my mind and baffles me that California sits on the Pacific Ocean, and yet they do very little desalination and instead take water out of the Colorado River system. Can you tell us what the problems are with them doing that and how you're asking for that to be changed?
So prior to coming to Congress, I was actually a water and natural resource attorney. So I worked on the Colorado River Compact, the North Platte River Decree, Laramie River Decree, and other water interstate water agreements or decrees throughout the Western United States. And California has failed its people, and it's failed the interior West in terms of its refusal to actually develop water for its citizens. California has essentially the same water infrastructure in place today with 40 million people that they had in the 1960s with 16 million people. One of the few things that the government ought to be doing is making sure that they are providing resources such as water for their citizens, for industrial use, for commercial use, for irrigation and agriculture. And yet California has failed at one of the most important duties that it has to meet the needs of its citizens.
So what are the consequences for states like Wyoming or Arizona, for example, as a result of California refusing to update its infrastructure system, do new things like desalinate when they have an ocean next to them in order to meet the needs of lots of irrigation in their big cities that are on the coast, for example? I mean, what are the consequences for the other states when California fails to do its job?
So we are the headwaters for the Colorado River. The Green River in Wyoming is the headwaters. So what happens in California and the downstream states definitely impacts our ability to be able to use our resources. So the 1922 compact essentially found that there was about a division of 7.5 million acre feet for the upper basin states and the lower basin states. California is limited to 4.5 million acre feet, yet they have historically exceeded that amount because, again, they have not developed their own resources. They refuse to build dams and reservoirs, and as you point out, they refuse to build desalination. California is truly the breadbasket of America. We could grow more crops in California than almost any other state in the nation combined. It used to be one of the top dairy producing states in the nation, but essentially they have sacrificed their ag industry because they have to continue to keep meeting the higher and higher demand on the municipal side. And yet they refuse to build the infrastructure necessary. So I am the chairman of the Water, Wildlife, and Fisheries Subcommittee. And one of the things that we have looked at is the need for California to actually invest the money, the resources, the time, and the effort to both expand existing reservoirs, build new reservoirs to meet the demand for these communities, and then desalination. There are many developments in every one of those areas and to protect the environment. Hundreds of millions of gallons of water every single year leave the state of California, going directly into the ocean, not being used, not being managed well with in-stream flows and things like that. It's just a real failure of leadership for the state of California.
Well, it's outrageous is what it is. It's absolutely ridiculous that this is the way things are happening. You know, Israel desalinates, Saudi Arabia desalinates, lots of people in the Middle East desalinate. It is a modern technology that is available, and California refusing to do it while, you know, running the Colorado River dry is an abomination. In terms of the negotiations that you used to be in as an attorney, but now you're on Capitol Hill, what kind of recourse do states like Wyoming have against someone, a state like California, when they're not doing their job?
So what ends up happening is the other states lose their water as a result. So right now, one of the things, we have a 4 million acre foot reservoir in Wyoming. It's called Flaming Gorge. It's in the southwestern part of the state. They're going to take about 1 million acre feet out of that reservoir this year. That affects all of our recreational industry, our boating industry, our fishing industry. It impacts the amount of water that we have available for irrigation in Wyoming. So the consequences are huge. What I do believe that the latest iteration of a proposed agreement that's being issued by the Department of Interior, from what I understand, and I have not had a chance to really study it, but I do think it is an effort to try to force Arizona and California both to do a better job of managing their resources and finding alternatives. The Colorado River cannot be the solution to their water demands, especially when you have cities like Phoenix, Arizona, and Los Angeles that are growing at the rate that they are. They have got to find a way to develop water resources in those states.
Yeah, and of course, the Colorado River goes right through the Grand Canyon as well, and we'd like to conserve that resource as well. Congresswoman Hageman, great to see you, and I know that it's rodeo season in Wyoming, so enjoy the rodeo, and thank you for joining us tonight.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.